up? It's your boy Heaven Hollywood back on the IE Network, and this is the Heaven Hollywood Report. And let's get to it. So I know y'all was waiting on a real reaction for the album Kendrick Lamar, and I'm gonna give it to you today. I did check it out. Finally, I listened to it a little bit yesterday, but you can't really listen to Kendrick Lamar at, midnight. So I had to wait and replay it again. Album is called Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It is a double album, but it only had 18 tracks on it. So the first joint, we're going to get into it, and like I said, you got to be paying attention if you're going to do a Kendrick album. First song was United in Grief. Was not feeling that at all. Just a little bit too much out there. Like I said, when I listen to a Kendrick album, I know what I'm going to get. I know I'm going to get the deep stuff. I know I'm going to get the conscious stuff. But, I would just want a little bit of balance when I listen to Kendrick Lamar. So, United in Grief, that was produced by Beach Noise. And, wasn't really feeling it. Second joint is called N95. I believe that is produced by Boy Wonder. Shout out to Boy Wonder. You know what I mean? That song, again, we got to the second song, and I'm like, I didn't really listen to that song all the way through. So, I kind of skipped it after I listened to the basics of it. Worldwide Steppers is a hot record. I did love Worldwide Steppers. Now, when it got to the fourth record, which is Die Hard, I was like, okay. Die Hard at the time, when he got to it, that was a song, I believe, that had kind of like the vote. He was kind of like singing on that song. And then I had people, once again, I'm going to shut y'all down. People saying, see, Kendrick is a rapper, and he was singing. So why can't Doja Cat be a rapper? Here's the difference. Kendrick had 18 songs on his album. He was probably not rapping on 2 of them. All right? Big difference from Doja Cat. I mean, there's not even a comparison. Y'all always waiting to try to get me with that. You're not going to change my mind. You're not going to change my mind until she comes with a album that is 80% all rap. She's not a rapper. Sorry. Then we had Father Time featuring Sampha. Father Time was a pretty good record as well. Not something I would listen to, again, but it was a decent record. At this point, Die Hard was the best record to me. Right? And then Rich, it was an interlude. We got to Rich Spirit, which was a dope record. So now Kendrick started kicking in the gear. Rich Spirit was definitely dope. I believe that was produced by Soundwave and a couple other people. I forgot who produced it. Then it started getting crazy. We got to We Cry Together, and We Cry Together is like that Just Me and My Bitch 2022. It was with the actress Taylor Page. I didn't even know Taylor Page did music like that. They was pretty much screaming at each other the whole record, but it was a message behind it. Toxic relationships, domestic relations, domestic violence relationships. So there was definitely a message in that. Purple Hearts with Summer Walker and Ghostface Killer. Shout out to Tony Starks. And that was definitely a hot record. By this time, this had taken over as my second favorite joint on the album. I would say it's second favorite because at this time I was not even knowing that Heart wasn't on the album. Heart 5. He started out the second side with Count Me Out. And again, the second side started off a little bit, but when he got to Crown, Silent Hill with Kodak Black, right? Savior was interesting with Baby Keem and Sam Dew. And Auntie Diaries, that's on the scissor. That's a song where he is kind of not bigging up, but showing support for the transgender family. Mr. Morale with Tyra Leone. Mother I Sober with Beth Gibbons. These are all quality records. Mirror. Oh, and that was produced by Beckon. That was a sick record. Mirror, I believe, closed out the album. So out of the 18 songs, I would say I was pro Kendrick on about 11 of 18. Now, that's pretty good. If you got 18 songs and 11 of them you think is quality, that's a very good album. Out of 10, I would probably give this album, as far as I would replay it, probably about I'll say about an 8. 7.5, 8 in between them for the full album. If I give an album a 7 plus, that's really good. I'm going to say like 7.5 because some of it, like I said, was just a little too far out there for me. I'm not really a Kendrick fan anyway, but I listened to it just because, I knew I had to do a review on it. If I were to say if this album, it is definitely not To Pimp a Butterfly, and it's not Damn either. But I would say it's better than the first album they put out. But, again, you know what you're getting when you get Kendrick Lamar. What do I think it's going to do? I think Kendrick is going to do probably in between 5 and 6 2000. Would I be shocked if he goes over 6? No, I wouldn't be shocked. Would I be shocked? I believe it's going to be the highest. Of course, it's going to be the highest charting hip-hop record of 2022 because I think the highest right now is Future, and that's only 2.5. But I do believe he'll probably do about 600K. But again, I don't expect 7, 8, 9. I don't expect it. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. I would never say never. And again, is this an album that I'm going to just simply replay over and over and over? No. I'll probably replay a couple of joints, but other than that, after I replay it a couple of times, I'm just going to ship it to the side and move on. Next up, we have Kylie Jenner, and it was said there was an account on TikTok, and they are making accusations that Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott hook up as a couple with girls. Now, I would not be shocked about this because, number one, if Kylie is trying to keep Travis or get Travis back, Travis wants that type of, all the guys that are in Hollywood, in the music business, they all want that girlfriend like Karrueche. And the funny thing is, they bring up Karrueche. They bring up Karrueche and Chris Brown. I don't think Karrueche and Chris Brown realizes that they're kind of like, the cornerstone of what people want. Travis Scott wants Kylie to be like Karrueche. So I'm hearing that there's a girl on TikTok, she so-called has receipts, saying that she went to a casting call and the guy that was there asked her, did she like Kylie Jenner? She said, yes, I love Kylie Jenner. And then he was like, well, are you interested in hooking up maybe once or twice a month with her and Travis Scott? According to the girl, she said no. Now, it doesn't really shock me because there was always rumors going around that Kylie and Stassi messed around. And they definitely was rumors that Kylie and Jordan was kind of like on their Rihanna and Melissa, allegedly. It was always alleged that Rihanna and Melissa at some point messed around, and they had that same talk about Kylie and Jordan Woods. So this is not far-fetched to believe. Is it confirmed anywhere? And is it enough receipts that this girl has? Her name is Kaylee Mullins. Kaylee B. Mullins. It's okay. It's not guaranteed, but she seemed to have some pretty good receipts. She has a voice message from the guy allegedly saying So he also asked her about Zayn, and she said, I had to think about Zayn, but then I said no to him as well. And he said, you think it's no to Zayn too? Zayn Malik, I guess. I believe he's the one that was dating Gigi. I believe Gigi Hadid. So she said she even turned that down. But this is something that's common. A lot of those casting calls, they do ask them, and they're there to cast women for couples in Hollywood. I'll have G run a list for you guys to say who looks for other couples or looks for other females or males. So that doesn't surprise me. And last but not least, we have the girl Jayda Wayda. And Jayda Wayda, guess what? She's got a podcast coming. Wow, you don't say. It seems like that's the route everybody's going. Shout out to Joe Buttons. Everybody should be thanking Joe Buttons because he's the one who started this podcast wave. Now, Jayda Wayda, I saw she was on the Shade Room or someone they was asking her about how men these days, how they don't treat women like they did in the 80s and 90s. So we're going to listen to what Jada said, and then we're going to come back and give my take on it. So here's Jayda Wayda.
And lately, like, I always be asking my friends, like, do y'all feel like the value of women to guys have went down, or guys just don't, respect us, appreciate us how they used to back in the 80s and the 90s? Like, women control literally, because I could say this now, but I only say that because of status. Like, we making hella money just like these. But as far as a man literally worshiping the ground a woman walk on, it's kind of rare these days. We running out of that. And it's kind of scary in society today. And I don't know, I might piss a lot of people off talking about this, but this is just conversations I be having with my friends. But guys don't appreciate us. I don't know what it is. This might be just something I talk about on maybe the first topic I talk about on my podcast, because I don't know, it's just a little weird these days. It's like we gotta fight for a spot in these lives, or they want to put, I don't know. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna save this for my podcast, because I know I got a podcast coming out here. We all about to be acting normal. I got a podcast coming. Stay tuned. But yeah, I don't know. That's going to be the first topic I talk about, though, because it's real different out here. But we do run the world, for sure. We control the world. I feel like the reason it's spinning. Women are taking over day by day. And that's just all I'm going to say for now.
I was complimentary of the Shade Room, and I'm just going to respond really quickly to Jada. I think her name's Jada Cheaves. I do agree on one aspect that yes, men did treat women better in the 80s and 90s because there was more quality men in the 80s and 90s. Men of nowadays, this generation of men, are emasculated every day. They're sensitized every day. Okay? There's way more non-gender and really non-masculine men in the world now than was in the 80s and 90s. Okay? So, and another big thing is, you women are not the same quality as women's in the 80s and 90s. I mean, so if you want to get treated like men don't treat women these days like they did in the 80s and 90s, because the women are not as much quality in women as there in the 80s and 90s. Women in the 80s and 90s, especially black women. Some white women were doing it. Black women in the 80s and 90s, you didn't see them out in public or out at strip clubs rubbing on other girls' asses, rubbing on their girlfriends' butts, heterosexual women, putting their hands down their girlfriend's pants, All right, you didn't see the women going after men. I mean, there's always been gold diggers, but men constantly cheating and disrespecting women, and then they're back next with them. They're back with them again the next week. All right, so if men see that, there's an old saying that says, "Why buy a cow when you can get your milk for free?" And men know that is all they have to do is throw a woman a Birkin, throw a woman, some sort of designer handbag, throw them a Chanel bag, and they can pretty much do whatever they want. Because a lot of these women are just out for the clout with social media. They're out for and the other half is if you make them squirt. That's the route I take. If you can make them squirt and buy them a purse, you can do whatever you want. And that is a God-given fact these days. If women have a man that got money and got a man that's making them squirt, like shut up and squirt. Whenever, and they feel as though they can do whatever they want. So men are not treating women like they were in the 80s and 90s because women aren't acting like they were in the 80s and 90s anymore. That's my take on it. But tune in to Jada's podcast. I just want to ask people, who do you think is the top rapper baby mama influencer? Is it Jayda Wayda or is it Ari Fletcher? Who do you choose? If you were a rapper, no, who's the top rapper baby mama influencer? Vote down below for Jada or Ari Fletcher. I think I'm gonna start doing my verses, my social media influencer verses. Don't nobody copy that idea either. I already got a trademark. It's your boy Evan Hollywood for the IE Network. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.